Hello everybody! So today I am recording a video in an empty living room because tomorrow I am moving. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today where I answered some of your questions from social media. We asked you guys on YouTube and Twitter what questions you'd have for me, and today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to answer them. That's pretty much the gist of the video, but I do want to tell you that at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking a bit about some of the stuff that I'm working on for the next couple months, so if you're interested in that, feel free to stick to the end and find out what's going on. The first question is from Apocryphal Shedinja on YouTube, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, who asks if there's any possibility that reducing the number of games in a regular season could be used to help maintain fan interest rather than making the games shorter. I'm actually a big advocate of shortening the Major League Baseball season. We've seen Major League Baseball try to shorten the games with different rules throughout the past few seasons, and I'm sure that more things like that will be coming in the future. So do I think there's a possibility of this happening? I do. And do I prefer it? Yes. I think even in a vacuum, 162 games is just too long. Of course, you're just not going to be able to produce as much excitement for the average MLB game as you are for the average NFL or even NBA game, but you can still narrow that gap by making the season shorter. It doesn't have to be an insanely drastic change for it to be effective either, and there are tons of other benefits to it too if it's scheduled properly, and I'll leave a link down below to a pretty good article I found explaining some of those. I've read too that the majority of teams in the past have been in favor of shortening the season, which you'd naturally expect, but there are some, particularly higher market teams, who would actually lose money from missed out TV and ticket revenue. Because we're still in the COVID era too, it seems like all owners are in favor of this approach for at least a temporary basis, but I think even down the line it would be good for the game if the season was trimmed down just a little bit. Fellow SRS member Sportstorm on Twitter asks to predict the outcome of the inevitable Padres vs Mets wildcard matchup. Now, assuming that this is the standard kind of wildcard matchup and not the expanded playoffs wildcard matchup, and this is a one-game do or die, I don't really see how the Mets lose that, because there isn't anybody in the Padres rotation who I think is going to match up with Jacob deGrom very well. I mean, the Padres have a great rotation, but they don't have a Jacob deGrom. I think the Mets lineup is better, and of course, the bullpen on the Mets side is a bit of an issue, but when you're in a one-game do or die, I don't see how you don't let deGrom go all the way, so that's not really as much of an issue. So for once, I think I like the Mets' chances. And he also asks what my favorite sports video game of all time is. That's either Wii Sports or MLB The Show. There's no specific version of MLB The Show that I like more, though. Juancho Hernan Gomez on YouTube, I'm sorry again if I butchered that, asks, who should the Twins get to be World Series caliber? Now, I've actually been getting this question a decent amount over the past couple of years, and I think the answer still remains the same. The Twins need starting pitching. Their offense is great. They just signed Andrelton Simmons, so their defense has gotten even better. I'm pretty sure I saw the other day from the head of R&D at MLB, Darren Willman, tweet out that the Twins were like plus 140 on outs above average since 2017 or 2018, which is like the second best in baseball. So defensively, they're very good. Offensively, they're very good. But they don't have the oomph in the rotation that they need. They don't have their Garrett Cole, their Jacob deGrom, their Max Scherzer. I don't think they really have the pitching depth that they need to go all the way. So my answer is the same as it's been for the last few years. Stock up on pitching. Here's another question that I've actually gotten a lot over the past year. It's from Rutted Panda on YouTube, who asks, when are you going to make your Rube Waddell vid? So I've actually talked about this in the comment section of a couple videos. I saw that there was a video that somebody had already made like a year or two ago about Rube, and I had watched it, and it really had everything you needed about him, and I didn't feel like I had anything else to say, so that video is officially canceled. Julian Lopez asks on YouTube, do you think the Padres will win the division this season? I'm going to give you a short answer. I don't think so. I think the Dodgers are still better. NorCal Kelly asks on YouTube what my opinion is on the MLB Hall of Fame voting and the character clause. So this may be surprising, but I actually didn't know what the character clause was, and I had to look it up before this video. What may come as another surprise, I don't pay attention to the Hall of Fame vote, like ever. I do have some opinions on the Hall of Fame vote in general. I've made videos in the past, so I have some issues with the Hall of Fame vote and how they should be reinstating people and that kind of stuff. But as for the current debate, like guys like Curt Schilling and Barry Bonds, I don't have too much of an opinion on. The character clause specifically, I guess you're asking that in regards to Curt Schilling. I personally would not let Curt Schilling on the Hall of Fame, but I totally get the opposite opinion that you should only consider on-the-field performance. While I disagree with that opinion, it's not an opinion that I think should be demonized. Enjoy Sack Lunch on YouTube asks, how you doing? And you know, nobody ever asks that. I really appreciate that. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Showbros asks, what is your goal number of subscribers on YouTube? I feel like with YouTube, it's always just the chase to the next milestone, so there really is no definitive goal for me, but I'd say 100,000 subs. Even if we eventually pass that, which we're hoping to do this year, that's still going to be a good milestone for me to always look back on. Kaylor Stacks asks if I do this full-time. I'm actually a full-time student, so no. So I'm a full-time student and a part-time YouTuber. Charles asks, who is your favorite baseball player? And because you said that you enjoyed Tatis even though you're a Yankees fan, I'm going to stick outside of the Mets here. I'm going to give you two. My favorite pitcher and my favorite hitter, not on the Mets. Favorite hitter, not on the Mets, Juan Soto. Favorite pitcher, not on the Mets, which I don't think anybody watching this would ever guess, Kyle Hendricks. And funny enough, Kyle Hendricks was a video that I had to delay a couple weeks because I'm moving right now. And that video you should be seeing soon. I'm going to talk about why he is my favorite pitcher in baseball. And it's a very personal connection that I have with him. Hopefully you guys will look forward to learning what that is. That should come out sometime in the next couple weeks. It's going to be the next episode in the analysis series. I'll leave a card on screen right now that'll take you to the playlist for that series. Sergeant Sus asks, can we get a face reveal? Sure. At DeanY317 asks on Twitter what my favorite David Wright memory was. The first game at Citi Field back in 2009 when the Mets were playing the Padres, David Wright hit a home run. It was the first home run the Mets had hit at Citi Field ever. It was a go-ahead 3-run homer, and it was one of the best calls that I had ever heard from Mets announcer Gary Cohen. The stadium exploded, and if I remember correctly, it looked like David Wright hit a ball out of the dirt, and that it made it that much more cool. And he also asks my thoughts on the black alternates making a return. I'm actually, another hot take, another surprise, I'm not a big black jersey guy. I actually do like the idea of having like a Friday night where you can wear those. I think that's a really cool promotion. I've never been a black jersey diehard, and I'm kind of hoping that if they bring it back, they spice up the design a little bit. Scott C asks, what led to the creation of SRS? Now I'm going to leave another card on screen to a video that Mike did, I think 2 years ago, about how SRS actually started. But to give you some idea, Mike and I were both YouTubers in the Call of Duty Zombies community for about a year, and he and I became good friends. We met through there on a stream randomly one time. We both found out we lived in the same area for a good part of our lives, and that was crazy. Then we started talking baseball, and then Mike approached me with the idea of SRS, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. But if you want more details on that, I, again, will leave a card on screen to that video. Chesgod asked a really good question, asking me what my favorite video that I've made is. It's pretty close between Meet the Wilpons and the Chicago White Sox documentary. Those are the two longest videos we've ever done. Those are the two documentaries that I made last year. I would have to say Meet the Wilpons, though, just because it is such a climactic video. It took a lot of time to get everybody involved together and on the same page, and it was a whole project, and I'm really proud of myself for making that one, and I'm glad that the support on that was really good too. Chamberlain Rick 6 asks on Twitter, favorite all-time Mets coach or manager? I gotta say Terry Collins. Absolutely love how he always had his players' backs. I love the vibe he always gave in the clubhouse. Didn't always make the best decisions, but I still really love the guy. And he managed the only World Series team in my lifetime. I don't count 2000 because I was only one. At 333_Beaver asks on Twitter, what's the greatest baseball game that I've ever been to? It's a tie, actually. The first one was in 2008. It was during the final week of Shea Stadium, and the Mets were in the midst of a playoff hunt. The Cubs and Mets were going back and forth in the pouring rain, and Ryan Church was part of maybe my personal favorite play of all time. And as you can see on this screen, he went full Little Leaguer on this slide at the plate. I think I lost my voice for 3 days after that. The second was a 2019 game between the Mets and Nats at Citi Field. It was pretty recent, so if you remember Stroman's first game where the Mets came back down 3 in the 9th on the Frazier homer and then walked it off in the 10th, that's the game I'm talking about. And I lost my voice after this game too, so that seems like a pretty good way to tell if I enjoyed myself at a game. I want to thank everybody for submitting questions, even those I didn't answer in this video. Thank you very much. Now, I did tell you at the beginning of the video that I was going to talk about some stuff that I have planned for the future, and I'm going to do that now. 2 more series I'm also working on the next episodes in right now. If Baseball Players Were Honest, the last episode in that series, the finale, is either coming on opening day or the day before opening day this year. And then the International Baseball series, Zach and I are working on the Puerto Rico episode right now. That should be out in the next month or so. And we already have an episode 4 in the works. Again, if you're not familiar with the series, we let you guys decide where we do the next video for, but we have one planned if you vote on it with a very, very cool guest. So we're hoping that you vote for the one we're hoping for. I'm also starting to post some solo baseball videos on my main channel. They are little baseball stories covered in under 2 minutes, so if you want some nice bite-sized content from me that's not the main stuff on this channel, feel free to go subscribe to my solo channel and check the first video that's out right now and the second video that's coming out soon that you can see on screen. There will be a link to that channel in the description and at the end screen of this video. Oh, and also subscribe to Sad Man Baseball because he's the best baseball YouTuber on the platform and he deserves your support. So if you want to go watch good baseball content, go over there. He's trying to hit 10,000 subscribers and it would mean a lot to me if you went and checked him out. Alrighty guys, thank you very much for listening and watching if you made it this far. As I stare at this empty living room around me, I'm reminded of all the cool times that I've had making videos over the past 4 years on YouTube in this house, and it means a lot to me that I'm still doing this and you're still listening. So thank you very much. Like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, do all that stuff, and I will see you very, very soon. Thanks, guys.